Superhero films have been the pinnacle of entertainment for all children and adults alike since the late 80s and started booming in the early 2000s. We've had Batman, Spider-Man, Iron Man, the Avengers, the Justice League, and many more that just filled our hearts with excitement and joy. The majority of these films have been fun to watch while others failed our expectations. I mean, it's normal for that to happen. That's when I realized there's been about over 200 films and shows since the year 2000. That's a lot of movies for roughly 23 years straight. Now, this is just generalizing with all superhero films. I mean, you have Marvel and DC mostly taking the road and following it with the superhero films, but we've had other companies make films. That's why today we're going to be discussing why superhero films really need a break. Now, quick note, I'm mostly discussing the modern films since the year 2000, obviously, and so on, up to now, 2023. This is also my personal opinion, so if you don't want to watch this video, go ahead and click off. Second, not all superhero stuff that is coming out is bad. The Boys, the Spider-Verse movies are proof of that. But movies and shows like that take a lot of time to plan and make. That's what makes a good movie or show in the first place, is the quality that goes into it. The writing, the acting, the editing, visual effects, and the animation. Pretty much everything needs to be roughly perfect, in some ways. All of these pieces in film need to work together and combine to make something really good. The last movie that I actually ever remember seeing that actually had all those pieces together was Avengers Endgame. Endgame checked off all the boxes to make a good superhero movie. The writing was good, the cast was amazing, the visual effects carried a good chunk of the movie. It also doesn't help that technically the third act is an animated film with all the CGI that's there. That's my own opinion though, but it also helps that it's the second most gross film in existence behind Avatar. It was the peak of Marvel Entertainment and it ended Phase 3 perfectly. If you look at the ratings on like IMDb or something, you can tell that something fell off. Endgame had this such high score in ratings and everything else has just not been able to meet it. We've gotten close to it with the Snyder's Cut, but even then that was just replacing a terrible movie in the first place and just filling that void up, so it didn't really change much. A problem that I have with the majority of these new superhero films is that they all feel like a cash grab. Especially the sequels to modern famous movies. It feels like the companies are milking them and just getting as best as they out so they can get the money that they need to do other stuff that doesn't work. This line from Ian Malcolm in Jurassic Park basically sums up how companies are treating it from my perspective, and it doesn't feel right at all.
Stood on the shoulders of geniuses to accomplish something as fast as you could, and before you even knew what you had, you patented it and packaged it and slapped it on a plastic lunchbox, and now you're selling it. You want to sell it. Well,
I don't think you're giving us our due credit. Our scientists have done things which nobody's ever done before.
Yeah, but your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
It feels like the producers are just throwing stuff out as pacifiers for the hardcore fans and just taking their money for it. For example, She-Hulk, that character in the comics, is more complex than what the show gave. The show gave us that she's an attorney, duh, she's related to the Hulk and has the same powers as him, another duh, and she for some reason is trying to get into a relationship during the show, which, why? And she, for no reason, is twerking and sleeping with blind lawyers who dresses up in oddly colored leotards and fights crime at night. That doesn't make any sense at all. It literally threw me off from the show. I didn't watch it. It was just disgusting. It also ruined one of the coolest characters that we've ever had a show adaptation of, and just ruined his character completely. He's terrible. Kevin Feige is doing a pretty decent job in making sure that these shows are working, but it's not really his fault that they're being treated like this. It's just a business move.
It's nothing personal, Jack. It's just good business.
It's at the top of the pyramid that all the problems are happening at the head of the company. Companies are hiding these movies and shows behind subscription that aren't even worth it anymore. It just feels like a cash grab every once in a while. And it sucks. Gee, what is it? Hey man, I was just wondering if you have any of that new fresh content. You know, I kind of watched all of your last show quickly. It was okay. I just don't want to be mean and kind of say it, but it was decent. But do you have anything else that I can use that's kind of good that I can watch and enjoy? You said you want something fresh, G. Give me a second. There you go. Thanks. Huh? Yeah, that's what you get, Jay. That's what you get for underestimating me and talking bad about me, Yeah, that's what you get. Oh yeah, by the way. That's what you get. That's a month subscription, by the way. And I got his card. I kind of realized I'm mostly targeting Marvel, which is kind of the point. But DC also has its problems with modern day films. Now, once again, it's not DC's fault that all the movies and shows are getting dry and boring. It's pretty much their parent company's fault for extending it all. Blue Beetle does look pretty good and promising compared to what Warner Brothers has been accepting as finished work recently. One of the reasons I am making this video is because of a specific movie that Warner Brothers recently released that flopped really hard. For those who don't know how a movie is considered a success or a flop, let me explain. If a movie makes as much money or a little bit more than what they put into it, that movie is a complete success.
Mission accomplished. Good work.
A flop is the opposite. The company doesn't make what they put into it.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
Now they're debating if they want to work with that director again, and if not to fire them and banish them into the Shadow Realm. They also told their audience that this movie will make us forget what an actor did a few months beforehand. That's not how that works at all, Warner Brothers.
But why? Why would you do that? Why would you do any of that?
Also, this movie CGI just didn't look good at all. It was just the suit just didn't look good at all. You can tell that something was off. It just sucked. And they also wasted the opportunity to turn an animated film into one of the coolest live-action films that we've ever gotten. For those that don't know, I'm pointing out the Flashpoint film where Barry goes back in time and he goes into a different universe. We could have gotten that, you know, we've had cooler characters in that animated movie anyways. They basically wasted money to have a film that just wasn't good, but they had this concept on this other end that would have worked perfectly. I would have watched the film if it was that concept, but no, they didn't go that way. It sucks. It's not a good sign at all. I originally wasn't gonna cover this, but with recent events happening, I kinda have to, because I hope it does benefit all movies, especially superhero films. For those that don't know, there's another writer's strike going on, and it's getting a lot spicier than it usually has been. From what I can tell, this is just because companies are using AI to write scripts, and since AI isn't technically fully developed yet, everything that's coming out sucks. It's also taking jobs away. To me, the use of AI is a cheaper result to get movies made. The better movies that have been made had human writers who had to think and be creative to make the screenwrite as good as it is, and not press a button to get a whole script out. I know that's not how it really works with AI, but that's how it feels. Just lazy. This time, actors are now getting involved with this strike, which, when I mean actors, I mean like a lot of actors. I think I've seen at least 10 actors who are with the strike. Funny enough, a few of the movies that have been delayed because of the strike are actually superhero films, and I think it's really funny to me because it's also kind of a turning point. I'm gonna list off a few of the films that have been made. I'm mostly gonna be basing off of the superhero films because that's what I'm talking about, but I will also talk about some other films that are being affected by the strike. The superhero films that have been affected by this is the new Spider-Man film, the MCU version, the reboot of Blade, which really sucks because I was really excited for that film since like 2019 when I first heard that it was an idea coming out. And then also the new Captain America movie, Brave New World. A few movies and shows that are not superhero films that have been affected by this is the Gladiator sequel, the Community movie, Season 5 of Stranger Things and/or Season 2, The Last of Us Season 2, and so on. But overall, we need a break from superhero films and shows. Not a big one, but like, I would say roughly 2 to 3 years, in my opinion, just to get something else creative out, and then have that go for like a year or two, and then do a superhero film. Not saying that's going to do much. I mean, obviously it's the producers and the companies that are making the films. It's their plan to do whatever they want. But realistically, we just need something else new. And I think that would benefit all of us. You know, we've been dependent on these films for over 23 years now, and they're all just getting lackluster and bland. Our expectations have gotten so high that nothing's meeting it anymore. A lot of the movies and shows that are being made are getting too complex with the story that the broader audience don't know what's happening or understand the characters or through the comics, have stopped watching what is being made or watch the show confused the entire time. I know I'm not a professional in business, but I even know when to stop milking content and try to make something new every once in a while. Hopefully this writer's strike will actually change something in Hollywood and finally get new, fresh, important screenwriters into filmmaking and shows again instead of using AI. I generally hope they just disband AI as a whole with cinema. It's not working out at all. At the end of the day, I'm just a nerd who wants the style of movies that I've appreciated all my life to be better and aspiring again. I hope it happens. I generally do. Thank you for watching my small rant on superhero films. I know I didn't do a lot of research with this video. It was just, I've been watching these films all my life at this point, and I've just enjoyed it, and just until recently, and I just really think that we needed a statement to be out there that hopefully, maybe, probably won't. Hopefully it can get out to Hollywood, even though I'm pretty sure it won't. And just from a fan to a broader audience and just producers and etc., that there are people who care about these films and that we just want to see them be made better again. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye.